So I'm here in the little market in Imola. This market happens a couple of days a week, early in the morning. It's fall here, so what they have mostly is fall vegetables and fruits and that type of thing. And I'm going to buy a couple of ingredients from this fellow over here to help make my sauce later. See if I can find my friend here. Buongiorno. Buongiorno. Uh, Prendo pomodori. Quattro pomodori.
Pomodori?
Sì, questi.
Sta facendo un film, signora, no?
Per i miei amici negli Stati Uniti.
Ah, ok, ok. No, no,
Grazie, grazie, è abbastanza, sì. E anche due carote. Ho bisogno di due carote, sì.
Ecco qua, allora sono 2,65. 2,65.
2,65. Grazie. Grazie signore.
Grazie a lei.
Buongiorno.
Altrettanto.
And that's it. So we're back in our apartment that we rented here in Emilia-Romagna. It's in a town called Dozza. It's a little bit, maybe half hour south of Bologna. And now I'm going to make some sauce bolognese. Might as well. I have a little bit of olive oil in here, and then I'm going to add a little bit of butter. And then what I'm going to add to that is some guanciale. So you could use bacon, you could use pancetta. I'm just going to get that started. This is all on. And I'm going to get that started. Get my spoon here. And really pretty much all the rest of the ingredients, most of them are going to go in right away. So I got that in there going. And now I'm going to add some garlic. This is about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. And then I'm going to add a carrot. This is a medium-sized carrot. That's kind of what I call it, a kind of a medium-sized carrot. Put that in there. And about the same amount of diced onion. Okay, so let's get as much of that in there as we can without having it go all over the place. And then I'm going to put in diced up tomato. Now the diced tomato, I used about 4 of these tiny ones like this. So, if you have bigger tomatoes, you can use, make up a little bit less. So I'm going to put, so all that's in there. Oh, everybody's in the party. And I'm going to throw in some basil, some fresh basil that I chopped up. We're going to let that start to cook a little bit, get that going. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt. At this point, I'll check the salt later. I don't want too much salt right now. And then I'm going to also do a similar thing with the black pepper. The black pepper in there. And I'll check that later too as this cooks, because this is going to cook for a while. And you see everything's all in here. And what we took a lesson. We took a lesson while we were in Bologna before we came here down to Dozza. We took a lesson and on the food of the Emilia-Romagna region. A lot of pastas and stuff they showed us, but they also showed us the traditional sauce bolognese. And what we learned was that a traditional sauce bolognese is not that incredibly thick, overly sugar sweetened thing that you get in places in the US. That is not traditional sauce bolognese. In the tradition, the sauce itself is relatively light. You saw I put very little tomato in it. And it's all about the meat, about the flavor of the meat. So I have meat here. It's ground up. It's about a half a pound. And it's half ground pork and half ground beef. And I'm just going to put that in here too. Break that up and get that going. As all this is going to cook together. Now you're saying, well, why didn't you saute everything and soften everything? Well, because this is going to cook for quite a while. I have now broken this up. I got it down in there. I'm going to add now a splash of wine. Just a little bit of wine, not too much. And I'm going to add a goodly amount of water. I mean, essentially, I'm going to maybe about half the height of what's in there. I'm going to add water. And that's going to then start to simmer. And that's going to simmer for about 2 hours. And I'll keep an eye on it. And if the water evaporates too much and it gets down to the point where there's almost no water in it, I'll just keep adding a little bit. And it's going to cook, and all those flavors are going to meld and everything for, like I said, about 2.5 hours. And when that's done, we'll come back, we'll cook the tagliatelle, and we'll serve up the tagliatelle alla Bolognese. All right, 2 hours, and the sauce is ready. Take a look at that. That's kind of what it looks like. I'm going to put in this is fresh tagliatelle. It only takes 2 minutes to cook. Now, a couple things. We sort of had to simplify this. Now, I don't have any equipment here or anything, so Donna's handling the camera work. Hi, Donna.
Hi.
And we had to get rid of the headset because we're going to do a little switching back and forth in a minute. So we're going to do that. And another thing, full disclosure, this is not the recipe we learned. Okay, I can't resist doing things and playing with things and messing around with stuff. So I modified the recipe a little bit. What I showed you is my version of it that I decided to come up with. But I maintained the spirit of the Bolognese, which is it's about the meat. The other ingredients add flavor to it. It's not supposed to be this heavy tomatoey sauce. So, and I've got out here, this is cooking up. This will be ready in a very short time. This is the Parmesan cheese we're going to put on top. I got the salt and pepper right. I kept playing with that and adding more of that. The other thing about this is you notice it's very dry, but what's going to happen is when I put this in, I'm going to bring some of the pasta water into that, and that's going to kind of loosen it up. So this, like I said, it doesn't take very long to cook, and it's going to cook some more once I put it in here in the sauce. So here we go. Let's take the beautiful fresh tagliatelle and mix it up with this bolognese that is in here. All right, that's good. All right, now we'll just kind of toss it around. There you can see, I need a little bit more pasta water to loosen that up, so we're going to put a little more pasta water in there. This way I'm loosening it up, I'm adding some starch, which is going to help things to adhere. And that's looking nice. Does that look nice? All right, I'm going to dish some of this out. Like so. And this is where we do the switcheroo part. I'm going to grate some cheese on top, and then we're going to let Donna taste it. So that's when we're going to have to switch. All right, that's looking pretty good. Okay, the Parmesan cheese is on top. Why don't you follow me over here? I'll put this down, and then we'll do the little switcheroo. And now Donna's going to be the star of the show. And she gets to taste.
But very briefly.
Well, because I'm hungry too, right? So there it is, the nice bits of meat and the tagliatelle and the Parmesan cheese on top. I said it's got all those flavors. The only sweetening for this comes from the carrots, the onions, no sugar added.
Yeah, that is really delicious. It's all meat. And I think the blend of beef and pork is important, I think, rather than all beef. Mm-hmm. And of course, the Parmesan from here makes it really good.
Okay, well, so that's it, folks. That's it from Emilia-Romagna. We're going to sit down and eat now, and hope you get a chance to try this. Take care.